right. Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, the 21st day of November, 2024, and the time is 9:31 a.m. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Alameda County Lead Poisoning Prevention Program's Joint Powers Authority Board of Directors. I would just note that this meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format, and members of the public are welcome to join us here at Emeryville City Hall for today's meeting. If you can't join us in person due to the weather or just your own personal prerogative, you can join us online. We have a Zoom webinar link provided in the agenda, as well as a phone number for those who wish to call in and give comment. This time I'll begin by asking if Ladise would please take the roll.
Director Hardy, Director Miley Arkin, Arkin,
Here.
Director Vella, Director Wenrath,
Present.
Director Gallo,
Present.
Director Bowders.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Ladise, now is the time for public comment for a non-agenda matter. A member of the public wishing to give comment for an item not on today's agenda but in the subject matter jurisdiction of the agency will have 2 minutes to give comment. Are there any members of the public here wishing to give comment today for a non-agenda matter? Do we have any comment cards received or calls
public
online?
comment.
Okay, comment is now closed. We'll turn to our consent calendar. Item 3.1 is the meeting minutes of October 24th. Is there any public comment on the meeting minutes for October 24th? Are there any corrections, changes, or edits from members? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Wengraff and a second by Gallo to approve the minutes. Please call the roll.
Director Hardy, Director Miley, alternate Arkin,
Aye.
Arkin, aye. Director Vella, Director Wenrath, Wenrath, aye. Director Gallo,
Aye.
Gallo, aye. Director Bowders,
Aye.
Bowders, aye.
The ayes have it. The motion is approved and the minutes, motion carries and the minutes are approved. We'll turn to item 4, which is an update on communications with the City of Oakland in regards to lead paint settlement and actions at Oakland Unified School District. Morning, April.
County Public Health Officer. Oh, thank you.
Here we go.
The letter included a brief history and a status update on the distribution and negotiation of the lead settlement funds. Additionally, it was recommended that Oakland make an immediate appropriation from the lead settlement funds already allocated to Oakland to support OUSD in making infrastructure repairs to eliminate lead poisoning risk at Oakland schools. The letter was also made available to El Timpano, an online news organization focusing on local journalism and civic engagement. El Timpano has been closely following the OSD lead and water issues, and in late October, they issued an investigative article, Cities in Action on Lead Paint Prompts Calls for Immediate Action on Lead in Schools. El Timpano is planning on publishing a follow-up story, I believe today or later this week. Right? Okay. That's the update on the communication. Any questions?
Okay, we'll take clarifying questions from members of the board. I recognize Director Gallo first.
Yes, thank you. And from the last meeting, I did submit a request to the city attorney, as well as met with your state administrator, county administrator, and got a communication from your county attorneys in terms of the legality. So has there been a direct follow-up? And Barbara Parker, who's our city attorney, I spoke with her yesterday, and I see her today in closed session, but regarding the issue. So have you had any communication from the county to say, yes, this money is available and we need to do X, Y, Z? And secondly, I know that the city of Oakland has $500,000 that were saved due to the fact that we didn't spend the money that we should have been spending when it comes to lead in the paint for years. Have you had that communication from them at all in
I've had
terms
no-
of what's next and all that?
No communication from city attorney, the county attorney, or anyone about regards to what you're speaking to, no.
And so nobody's followed back with you to get the direction, how to, when to, and all that?
No.
Okay, then am I to follow back with you then? Because I want to set up that meeting so we can both hear the same thing and
Yes,
and
sure.
try to support Oakland Unified School District. Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions? I have a follow-up question. So with respect to, just to clarify, with respect to the lead paint settlement, the statements that have been said in the public are that the city attorney in Oakland does not believe they can be anything other than home lead paint issues. Have you or the staff had any such conversations with Oakland regarding that?
No,
So they haven't contacted you, but we believe that they don't believe they can use it for non-home paint purposes, but our position is that the funds are malleable and can be used for lead abatement in general, correct?
from our county council advice, yes, we can.
So the position of the county and the position of this board as an acting agency for that is that those funds are available, which is why we sent that letter and asked them to use those funds, correct?
Correct?
Thank you. Any further questions?
Yes. So you have a communication from the county attorney saying that, yes, legally, we can use that money for that
This is the
purpose?
count from the county.
That's not what I heard from them.
Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't in that conversation. I can just speak to what was told
Yes,
to
go
us. So,
So she said yes?
So I want to clarify before we say he's and she's. County Council's office has said this funds are available to be used by the city of Oakland if they wish to for lead abatement.
the county, let me clarify. Thank you for that. In terms of the way that the county of Alameda is using our funds, they have clarified that the way they are using them is consistent with the lead settlement agreement. In terms of whether the city of Oakland should or could, they have deferred to the city attorney to make that decision.
Okay, but your recommendation from the county is, yes, we can use the money for that.
I can't recommend what the city of Oakland is doing.
No,
with
no,
their
no, but I'm,
discretionary.
you know, because there's a problem with government here between the counties, like the Coliseum issue. You're saying one thing, we do another, then we do one thing, then you're saying another thing. So there's no cooperation and communication within, Oakland is within the county. Anyways, I don't want to get into that issue. But so Alameda County is saying, yes, those funds are available for this purpose, for helping lead in the water at the schools.
The county of Alameda only made a recommendation about the county of Alameda's funds, not about the city of
No,
Oakland's.
that's fine.
So that's,
But you said
I
it's
wanna be clear.
okay. Okay, and
I
that,
want to be clear because we don't want to say she said. I want to be very clear what she is saying.
Yeah.
She is saying, and you will correct me if I'm wrong, please.
yeah.
You are saying that the opinion of county council and our agency as it relates to our expenditure of funds is that we are in compliance. Our position as a board and the position that we've consulted internally on is that Oakland could be using its funds to do this. But we are also in a position of, it is Oakland's money that has been given to Oakland. There are other funds in the future that the county and the city have to agree on how to use. But the $4 million+ that we've put out there
Yeah.
that Oakland has, we are deferring to Oakland. Oakland's judgment of it is that they can't use it. We kindly disagree, but it's Oakland's judgment and we are deferring to Oakland on that. We wrote a letter advocating on behalf of the use of those funds, consistent with how we are using those funds and in consort with the city of or the Oakland Unified School District. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. So I want to recognize Director Vela and then Director.
no, I just want to be very clear, but I also want to be very clear that the city didn't communicate back with, okay, got
Did
it.
not.
Well, I was just,
I got it.
well, I'm going to speak anyway. So the point I'm going to make is that we have tried for 3 years to get the city of Oakland to do anything. And the city of Oakland has not done anything except recently told us that they've now hired a consultant and it will take a year for them to develop the equity-based action plan that we should have had several years ago to actually address these issues where they could have already made a decision to help Oakland students, teachers, and parents. I now recognize Director Vela.
My question is, are you aware of any limiting language in the agreement?
No, I'm not aware of any limiting language in the agreement.
And I'm going to just ask a clarifying question, which is I think what Chair Bowders was getting at, which is, are we a separate jurisdiction from the city of Oakland?
We are a separate jurisdiction, correct?
So they have their own legal counsel and we have our own legal counsel.
That is correct.
And we can take that counsel under advisement, or we can take action to disregard the advice.
That is my understanding, correct? Yes.
Thank you.
Recognize Director Wengraf.
Do we have a written memo from county council on this issue?
On the issue of the use of funds?
Yes.
No, I do not.
Okay. I think it's really critical that we have a written memo because right?
With respect to our funds, just to be clear.
With respect to county council's opinion on how county funds can be utilized. I think it's very important that we have a written memo, because at this point, it's he said, she said, county said, city said. It's based on an oral conversation that you've had, I think, with county council. And I think it's critical that we have something in writing.
Recognize Director Vella.
Just a point of order, I believe this is clarifying questions, is that correct?
It is.
So we would be waiting to give commentary?
Direction until I've called for comment, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other clarifying questions? Director Arkin.
Yes, just briefly, and I apologize in advance if I missed this, but since there has been a history of delays, when do you expect an answer?
An answer to which question?
With Oakland's council response?
I haven't been in contact with Oakland's council, so I don't have any frame of reference to say when to expect
We-
an answer. I didn't know this conversation took place until just now.
Okay, and will there be appropriate follow-up to try to,
I don't have I'm,
okay.
you know, work for the county of Alameda, not the city of Oakland, so I can't say
okay,
what the city of Oakland processes are.
okay.
Can't speak
thank
to
you,
that,
that's
if
all
that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Sure.
All right, I'm going to call for public comment. A member of the public who wishes to give comment on item 4 will have 2 minutes at the microphone to give comment. Is there anybody here wishing to comment on agenda item 4? Did we receive any written comments online or in advance?
No public comment.
Comment is now closed, and we'll turn back for discussion on this item. Is there further discussion? I recognize Director Vella.
I want to thank Chair Bowders and staff for their work on the letter. I think our purpose in writing the letter and our purpose in giving the direction that I believe we're going to be giving really has to do with the fact that there have been so many egregious delays in the disbursement of funds to those to actually abate known problems. Whether or not the city of Oakland decides to take action is something that can be challenged certainly by the community members and the constituents of the council, and certainly should be something that should be raised by community action groups and interested parties in the community as to why funds are sitting in a account being unspent when we know that there's serious harm occurring in our schools that are impacting our children, our teachers, and our families. I actually don't want our county council to issue a legal memo. And the reason is it's not their job to issue a memo to give advice to another jurisdiction as to how they spend their funds.
Go ahead, finish your.
So I want to be very clear about what we would be asking for in a memo and what we want, because I think the specifics really matter. I also think that we can ask county council for general advice relative to the expenditure of our funds. If that's the request, I would like that fleshed out further and then to understand what the purpose would be. But I also, again, think that there's other ways, frankly, to encourage the city of Oakland to do what's right by their constituents. And there have been numerous times that the city council and mayor have taken action that has not been in alignment with the advice of their legal counsel. It's a policy decision, ultimately. And I also would just challenge people to say, I'd like to know who is going to actually file suit against the city of Oakland for expending those funds to do remediation work, because I think that that would be really disturbing and concerning, that people would not want funds expended to actually remediate a known harm. And that's ultimately what it boils down to. So I think the agreements are public documents. We've looked them over. I've looked them over. I have not seen any limiting language. I think that this is a feeble excuse to continue to sit on funds. I would also question what the plans are with those funds and what the value is to have them continue to sit in an account unused while children are being harmed. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you may have misunderstood my request. I was asking for a written memo from county council regarding the use of county funds, not opining on the use of Oakland funds.
As a point of clarification, may I ask a question?
Yeah,
We're already expending those funds consistent with the county's plan that we've already approved. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So asking council to tell us what we're doing is something we're already doing. It's consistent with what council has verbally told us we could do.
That is
We've
correct.
been doing that for several years since the funds were released to us.
so
So I think that's the reason why we would do a memo. We're already doing it.
a memo affirming that the way we are using the funds is correct. That's just my opinion. Right now, everything is, everything is, in the ether. And I just think something written, eventually, this is probably going to be litigated, and I think something written is very important to have in the record.
I recognize Director Gaio next.
Yes, I just want to make it very clear, from our last meeting, I did speak with the administrator, Susan, at the county level, as well as she referred me to some of your attorneys that communicated with me. But also I worked with the superintendent of schools and the facilities staff, and they gave me the number of amounts that they would request or requesting to make sure that we contribute. And I think at that time they said, well, at least if you can give us $500,000 this year, that would be extremely supportive of where we are to meet the needs of some of our schools. And that's the communication I put in writing, not only to my council members, but to the attorney. And like I stated that, I am seeing the city attorney today in closed session, and this is an item that we're going to deal with. So we are trying to make sure that the amount of money that we have, because we didn't spend the millions that we were allocated, but we put it in the bank, and then they told me that, well, that money in the bank has generated $500,000. And at least that's something I'm leaning with to help the school with. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
Director Arkin.
Yes, thank you. I was absent at the last meeting, but I fully support what the JPA did with the letter to the city of Oakland in expending their funds, especially when there's, as it states, the data shows alarmingly high levels of lead in Oakland schools, and protecting children is something that I've stood for a long time with my elected service. So I'm fully supportive of that, and just wondering at this point, at this meeting, what direction do we give going forward at this point? Or are we still awaiting response?
Yeah, this is an update only. There's not anticipated additional direction today, but we'll have some additional comments, I think. Director Bella?
Yeah, seeing as typically when there's anticipated litigation or things like that, or communications from attorneys, those sort of memos tend to be to the body itself. I do have a concern relative to if we believe this is going to cause or lead to potential litigation, that communication actually occur in closed session and not be a public memo. I don't know who is going to be trying to litigate us or contest us as a body. And again, I would say, I would find that to be very disturbing, that there would be somebody out there actually opposing the use of funds rather than the hoarding of funds when there's harm being done to community members. So, but if there is a decision by this body to get a legal memo, I would request that it's done in closed session to the new members of the JPA and not necessarily be a public document on legal opinions about anticipated litigation, if that's the case.
Director Wengraf?
Actually, I'm seeing that this is an information item on the agenda, and that I think it would be, I'll ask the chair's opinion, is it out of order if we take any action on this item, given the way it was noticed?
Yeah, it's not listed as an item for action. We took action at the last meeting on this agenda item, and this was an update only. If at a future agenda item, the next item on this agenda, members want to bring an action item to a future JPA meeting, that is an appropriate request at that time. If there's no other discussion, I have comments before I move on to the next item. Director Hardy, do you have a comment or question? Can you pull the mic down and push the button? I'll help you. Just so everyone can hear you.
not necessarily having a lot to say about the immediate discussion, but I wanted to put it on record. I'm asking Oakland's representative, Dio, to perhaps try to set up an appointment, and I, as the representative of the community, that you and I both can have a meeting. So I just wanted to say that, and I want it on record. Because of the fact that I, as a member of People United for a Better Life in Oakland, is the organization that was the impetus behind this Alameda County Lead Poison Prevention Program from the get-go. And I'm very proud to have been able to represent the city of Oakland. And as I stated at our last meeting, that I am going to be stepping down. I just celebrated my 82nd birthday. So I think it's time for me to let someone else younger and someone else that is still very much involved in the community take my place. So I've been kind of looking around for other young women that are out there fighting causes for people in Oakland, and also considering the county for its Berkeley, Alameda, and in Reveal also. I just want to make that statement.
Thank you. I'm going to just wrap up with just some summary comments on this, which are, I'll just start by way of background. I have worked for most of my career helping people access safe and clean housing, sued housing authorities, property owners for the abatement of environmental toxics in their homes for years in Chicago. I've had the privilege of serving as the chair of this board for 8 years, and we've had 17 years of litigation with paint companies to bring resolution to basically what was a known public nuisance, the existence of lead in paint and other products that companies knew were harming our families and children, and which they monetized at the expense of people's public health. The settlement dollars were received over 3 years ago, and Alameda County and the JPA immediately implemented those funds into our existing framework and programs that we manage and receive reports on monthly. The city of Oakland, after a long negotiation, received a direct payment from the joint funds of just under $24 million to begin work to serve people specifically in Oakland who have these lead hazards in their homes. And there's over $9 million that's left to be programmed in Oakland jointly by the county and the city. The city has had that money for a long time. And the city, with no excuse and no exception, dragged its feet in hiring a consultant to help them develop the plan they stated they wanted, for which was a good reason, to invest in the community equitably, to ensure that people who were disproportionately harmed had access to the funds first, and that we made neighborhoods in the Fruitvale and San Antonio neighborhoods in West Oakland and Deep East Oakland the priority. And I think that those are all good things. But the amount of delay has been unconscionable. And it has actually served to leave people in harm's way for the last few years. And we have a known public health crisis at Oakland Unified Schools. And I will align my comments with Director Vela on those points, that it makes zero sense, and there is zero limiting language, as the lawyer in sitting up here along with a couple others, there's zero limiting language that prevents the city of Oakland from choosing to do the right thing by the people who live in their community. And it is always the prerogative of us as policymaking bodies for us to take the advice and consider the consultation of the lawyers we have at our disposal to advise us. But what we choose to do as policymakers is literally up to us. And we wrote the letter we wrote because it is imperative that the city of Oakland partner with Oakland Unified School District and the county's public health official to put funds into the hands of people who can immediately abate a known hazard and toxic that poisons children every day in our cities. And for them to delay further or to say they're going to spend the next year developing this plan, in short, is anything except equitable. It's actually a deprivation of their public duty and service. And so I will just use my last comment as chair of this board on this meeting to just say that anything less than action by the city of Oakland immediately is a dereliction of their public duty to children. That being said, that is the end of agenda item 4. Agenda item 5 is future agenda items. Are there any members who wish to request a future agenda item which would not be heard until 2025 as we have no December meeting? Seeing no requests for agenda items for the future, item 6 is announcements by members of the Board of Directors. Are there any members who wish to make announcements?
There is,
Oh, not you just yet. Are there any members up here who wish to say anything? Do you,
Yes, I
Director
do.
Wengraf first?
Thank you. I've served on this board for how long? I don't know. A long time. Leticia, do you know how many years? 6?
8.
8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've served on this board for 8 years. It's been a privilege and a real pleasure to serve with my former board members and current board members and staff, Larry, everybody at the agency. No regrets. Of all of my assignments, this is one of my favorite. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
I want to thank you for your years of public service to the people of Berkeley. I recognize Director Vella.
I've also served on this board, had the pleasure of serving on this board for 8 years, and I want to just express my sincere gratitude to the Healthy Homes Department staff. You all do tremendous work for our community day in and day out. All of the outreach that you do, the remediation, the abatement that you do, the training that you do, just has such a profound effect on our entire communities. And so I have so much respect for your commitment to the work and your commitment to making sure that all of our cities have the staff adequately trained to help make sure that we're doing what we need to do to enforce things appropriately and make sure that we're ensuring safety in our community. So thank you so much for what you do. On a personal note, as a mom, thank you for what you do. I know that there's been some of the enforcement updates that we've gotten have come from things like preschools that were, not properly encasing lead paint and other contaminants. I know that you all, and I'm going to kind of shout out the work that you do above and beyond, because there are so many events that you cover on weekends, evenings, things like that, to really make sure that you get that community outreach that often goes unrecognized. People think, oh, public servants, you're working your 9 to 5, you're punching in, you're punching out. That is absolutely not the case with this department. And I know you all are deeply connected to and rooted in the community, and that's why you all do the work. So thank you for your passion and your commitment. Thank you for making this work for us so easy. And I want to just mirror the comments of my colleagues and say that this panel and the work here is really rewarding and has been a bright spot in my time on City Council and my time on this board. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Gaio.
Yes, and again, thank you for the recommendations and the advice. I have not been on here for 8 years, but certainly have grown in Oakland all my lifetime. And I see some of my neighbors here sitting here, and certainly we know what the issues are. But I will ask those that are working with the county, do you have $9 million sitting there that should be spent in direction supporting Oakland homes? Because Oakland had the greatest problem. And that was part of when that development occurred to push the issue for the lawsuit with lead in the paint issue. But I will ask for the county's administration to join Oakland and provide information to this body that if we're not administrating the funds that are available, like the county has more money than we have that hasn't been used in the city of Oakland.
That's not
So we need to come together. We need to come together to make sure that I heard $9 million sitting there. So we need to come together as staff members to make sure that that money and that resources is spent in the greatest needs in the city of Oakland. So I thank you for that information. And certainly you and I will join the city attorney after our meeting to get this more clarity and get the work done. Thank you for your leadership and support. Thank you.
So just before I give my final comments, you had nothing you wanted to say? I'll recognize Director Arkin first.
Just really briefly, thank you so much. I do want to, I have not been on the JPA here for very long, just earlier this year, as I'm the representative from County Supervisor District 4, Nate Miley. And I've really enjoyed the experience. I'm going to continue that and look forward to making some very good decisions in this next year that are supportive of the health and welfare of families and children. So this is a very important JPA for me to be on, and I appreciate all of staff's work in furthering this agenda. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Director Hardy.
I know I probably be repeating myself, but I want to say that I have enjoyed representing the cities excuse me, that have and has been a part of this board. I, as a representative of the community and as a member of People United for a Better Life in Oakland, we work very hard to get this lead poisoning prevention program, Healthy Homes. And I'm very proud of everything that we have been able to achieve. And I'm hopeful that those that are still present and are part of this board will continue the work that they have been doing. I am working to try to find the right young lady to take my spot representing the city of Oakland. As I stated earlier, I just celebrated my 82nd birthday, in which I'm happy to be able to do so. But my body is talking to me and I need to listen to it. And so is my mind, and I need to listen to it also. I am very happy and proud to be able to have been a part of this board and a part of the celebration of everything that we have been able to achieve regarding lead poisoning, and especially considering all of our children. I am a widow, a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, and I am a great-great-grandmother of a 5-year-old. And I am very happy to have been able to live as long as I have, to make the contributions, hopefully, that were helpful to our city and to our cities. We tried very hard to get a lot more of the cities on board, but no. But they all can get a piece of this program. They can't get everything because they're not putting in any money, but they can get parts of this program because of the fact that we're all part of Alameda County. And I am working, as I said, to try to find, and I almost know the right young lady that will be able to take my spot and to represent the community, the people of the cities. So I just want to say that. Thank you.
I will close remarks. I want to first thank the staff. This is one of the most joyful agencies that I have the privilege of serving as a board member for. You show up to this space with a deep sense of pride, of collegiality, and you're a clearly mission-driven group of people. And having served on many boards over the past 8 to 10 years in different capacities, you get to see a lot of different culture. And when I say that, I mean how people do their job, how they show up for each other. And I've always been impressed by the leadership, past and present, of this agency and its department, the way you come to your work and the multiple disciplines with which your work is done. I think that's one of the most promising parts of this department, is the integrated nature in which we have people with technical skills who understand how to use technology to find hazards. We have people with public health skills who administer care to families and children. And that is really a department that's about the whole person. It's not an issue department, even though we're at the lead poisoning prevention program. Like, really, we're a beautiful array of skills working together to give people whole care. So I want to commend you for your work and thank you for all the years of service you've done. I want to thank the members of the board who've been here past and present. Some of us have ridden this ride together as a little cohort, and some of us are newer, and some of us have been here for a very, very, very long time. But I've always enjoyed this meeting monthly. I've always really appreciated the collegiality, the problem-solving nature, the commitment to public health. That's the reason I asked for this assignment in my city in 2016 when I was first elected. It's the reason I ran for public office. I've served as the chair of the Air District Board and other environmental boards, served on Ava Community Energy. I really care about public health and ensuring that people have healthy lives and homes in our community. And so the mission and the people on this board, these are all people who are committed to and sharing that vision. I want to thank the community for supporting this. Voters have supported this. They have engaged our work. We do outreach with the community, and people constantly need to be re-engaged, re-educated, and informed about not just our services, but the importance of the work we do. And I want to thank the community for being partners in that. And then I have a couple very special thank yous. I want to first thank Larry Brooks for your stewardship. You became the executive director in my first month on this board as chair. And so we have had our own cohort in a leadership capacity, and you have never hesitated to pick up the phone to call me. You have never shied away from asking, can you make a trip to Sacramento to testify on a bill? You have worked with me in these types of letters, whether it was during COVID or on litigation or to school boards. You have always stood up for and supported your staff, and you have cultivated the culture that I'm speaking to today. And I just think you're a consummate example of what a public servant should be. My last thank you is for you. You're a very special person. We talk about representing the community. There is no substitute for that than the community. This is the only board I serve on where the community has a seat. You've been showing up to this board since 1989 when I was in 6th grade. It's a long time ago. And you have been a steadfast and unapologetic champion for people like yourself, sisters, mothers, grandmothers, great-grandmothers, and great-great-grandmothers. You have done that nobly and without much recognition. And I think when we think about community engagement, when we see the public become less and less engaged in their government, you are a reminder to me every time you come to this meeting that good people exist in this community and they do good things. So I'm grateful for you. I will now recognize the director, former director.
Larry Brooks, the former director of Alameda County Healthy Homes and Child-Led Poisoning Prevention, and now former secretary to this JPA. It's great to have some of my healthy housing heroes here in the background to witness this meeting. Some of them have heard me say in the past that this is the best JPA board that I've ever served under. I came to work for Healthy Homes in 2013 and became the director in 2017, and thus began that journey with the chair here, Director Botters, which has been a wonderful journey. I often say, yes, this is the best one. Last week, I stepped down from the board of directors for the California Association of Code Enforcement Officers with a number of other board members, and there were tears, as many were saying, that it was the end of an era, which it might have been. In this case, as I say goodbye to you all, and you say goodbye to us, Director Vela, such an honor to have been able to serve with you, especially as you went through the transition of becoming a mom. which I don't think changed the passion that you have for child-led poisoning prevention. It was already there, but it certainly did help. Director Wingraf, the things that you and I have in common, and the way we've worked together, I certainly will miss that. And of course, I will be praying for you, as I know you are having to deal with caretaker responsibilities such as I. Director Gaio, yes, you have not been with the JPA board long, but your presence has already been made, and I expect it to continue along with Director Arkin. The legend, Director Hardy. I think Director Botters has already summed it up. There's nothing else I think I can say in terms of how much I admire you for what you have done and what for people for a better life in Oakland, what Pueblo has done in terms of putting Alameda County on the map with regards to the CSA fee and this JPA. However, I don't see this as the end of an era, even though we're going to lose you, Director Hardy, Director Botters, Director Wingraf, Director Vela. Not the end of an era, but I hope this is the beginning of something. I think you all have set the bar high, and so my hopes are that the future JPA will live up to the standard that you have set. The reason I say that you guys are the best JPA ever is because it's obvious just by this letter that we've all been listening to you discuss. You get it. You recognize that in order for us to be able to protect our children and our families, we have to become more proactive. And that's what those letters that you've sent represent. An effort to take us away from what I say is our challenge, that we call ourselves the Child-Led Poisoning Prevention Program, but in reality, we're more reactive. We are a child-led poisoning treatment program. In order to become preventative, we have to be able to utilize those funds and work together. I agree with you. I agree that that $500,000, the Millennium Paint settlement money from 2011, needs to be utilized in some way, along with the $5 million that City of Oakland received from the 2019 settlement, along with the $9 million that is sitting with the county to be used for the benefit of Oakland. But it has to be used in a way that takes us away from just being a child-led poisoning treatment program and really becoming a preventative program. And so that's why I say this is the best JPA ever in terms of what you have done over these years and in terms of what I am hoping the next JPA will accomplish. And then lastly, I just want to acknowledge the backbone of this JPA, Ladise, who I've always called you the deputy secretary, but really in many ways you are the secretary to this JPA. And I know that you are doing the same thing in terms of with our interim director, April Williamson, who I also want to credit for the work that has just been accomplished here with that letter that was sent to Oakland. So with that, I just thank you and God bless you all.
Thank you, Larry.
John, I'm sorry.
Ms. Hardy, I recognize you. Yep.
I just want to recognize some faces out here that I'm seeing today that I hadn't seen for a while. I'm not very good on names anymore, but you know I'm talking about you. You know I'm talking about you. You know, some faces that were here when I came to be a part of this board. I wasn't the original representative of the community. My director, Francis Capitura, was the representative. But because we were an organization or a project of C2, Center for Third World Organizers, Fran said, no, we need someone from the community to represent. And since I was one that didn't have a, what do you want to say, 9 to 12, 8 to 5, or whatever, I was available and they asked me if I would represent the city of Oakland and all the other cities that had graciously signed on to be a part of this Alameda County Lead Poisoning Prevention Program, Healthy Homes.
With that, the time, Madam Secretary, is 10:16 a.m. The meeting is adjourned. I hope you'll